Tonight, I'm gonna be telling you guys the legend of the Winchester Mystery House, which is the largest haunted house in the world. Well, mansion. Well, $150 million plus mansion. Here we go. What's up, guys? It's Sam back at you with another video. Happy almost Halloween. Today we're gonna be doing a very interesting video. Over the past couple months, I've been starting to do these debunking videos, and today, boy, do I got a video for you. Earlier this week, I was actually introduced to this house, this haunted house that is unlike anything I've ever seen before. And I did not realize how absolutely insane it was until I did a little bit more research. And today we are going to be talking literally about the Guinness World Record largest haunted house in the world. Next level stuff, paranormal, out the wazoo, everything. What did I just say that? Maybe. This is just a giant mansion that literally has like staircases going into ceilings and like doors that open into brick walls. Like, this doesn't make sense. Nothing about this house makes sense whatsoever. And the person who built it was this incredibly rich millionaire that was a widow. And the way she built it was by talking to ghosts. So before we get into that, I want to say thank you so much for everyone who has bought a 3 a.m. hoodie. I'm seeing you guys' pictures everywhere, and because you guys liked it so much, I decided to keep it up until Halloween. So in case a few of you guys couldn't get it and you still wanted to, you can. So this is going to be available all the way until Halloween, although you might not have it on Halloween. You guys can still check it out, link in the description. Now let's get started. Alright guys, so we are going to be separating this into 3 different parts. The backstory, you gotta know who the heck, why the heck this is all happening. 2, the house itself and all its crazy things, including literally like doors that lead to where you plummet to your death. Like, it's actually haunted and creepy like that. And then we get to the paranormal side, the investigator side, the stuff that doesn't make sense at all. But tonight we're gonna get a little spooky with something more real than I ever imagined. Let's take it back a little bit to the backstory of the Winchester family, specifically Sarah Winchester. Where the heck did this all start, and why is she a widow in a haunted house? Starts with the Winchester family itself. Winchester was actually the family that created that rifle that was used in like the Wild Wild West, you know, Winchester rifle. It was a huge thing. If you don't know it, you probably didn't go to school, and that is why they were so rich and she could afford to do this. Sarah married into this family after they created the gun, which is where it gets a little spooky. So because this family created the gun, everyone expected them to be cursed because of all the deaths that that gun had led to. If you think about it, their family was the result, in a way, indirectly, of thousands and thousands of deaths. So the ghosts of those thousands of people were said to be cursing and haunting the Winchester family, which in fact might be true because both the blood Winchesters died of like random sudden illness. They had one daughter ever, and that daughter died at 6 weeks old to an illness. The father also died from tuberculosis before he was even that old. So everyone thought that those illnesses were due to the ghosts. Now Sarah herself was really freaked out about this and thought that she was actually cursed, so she went to this thing called a medium. And if you don't know what a medium is, it is someone who is, let me show you. So let's say we're right here, here's the heavens, she's in the middle. A medium. She can basically talk to both and kind of communicate through the heavens and whatever. I don't know. What this medium told her was she would be cursed unless she develops a house by the spirits forever. And that's where our story begins. That brings us to the actual Winchester house, a Guinness World Record of the longest renovation for a single home ever. This is where it gets really weird. This medium told her that she would be haunted by ghosts if she doesn't build a house continuously forever for ghosts. What? And because she was paranoid of this curse, Sarah Winchester had people working and renovating her house 24/7, 365 days a year. Yes, all the way through the middle of the night, had people working forever until the day she died. 36 years later. Now this house is huge, 24,000 square feet, and to give you an idea, that at one point was over 200 rooms, and by the end of it was morphed into 160 rooms due to a lot of different things that we'll get into. And it has like 10,000 windows, which to give you perspective is more than the entire Empire State Building. Speaking of really weird architecture, like I was saying in the beginning, these staircases, most of the staircases didn't lead to anywhere either. There's a set amount of staircases that just rose to the middle of ceilings. Like they would be completely put there for a plan and then stopped abruptly, or they would lead up to one of those doors that leads to nowhere. They had 17 chimneys in this house throughout all the little sections, and half of them only went up halfway through the house, not even getting to the top of the ceiling, which defeats the entire purpose of a chimney, so I don't know what they were doing. But once you hear the reason why this all happened, you're gonna be freaking out just as much as me. Now, like I said, this girl was loaded. Like, I'm talking cash money. Her inheritance alone was over $20 million, which back in the late 1800s, which is when she was building this thing, was equivalent to almost $1 billion. Imagine just inheriting $1 billion. What the heck are you gonna do with it? Maybe make the creepiest house in the entire world? I don't know. She was maybe a little bonkers, but maybe not. That's the weird part. And it turns out that she spent about $5 million on this house, which, if we want to talk in today's terms, is about $150 million. Imagine how huge that is. That'll blow your mind. This is all haunted, and I'll tell you why. So you know how I was saying how she thought she was cursed and she talked to this medium? Well, she had a very weird connection with these ghosts. Like a connection that you don't even think is possible. You know, like a Sam 3 a.m. challenge type of connection, you know what I'm saying? Like this girl literally chatted, like had tea, freaking hung out, slept with goddamn ghosts. Not slept like that, but you get what I mean. So she was building this house 24/7, right? Anyway, she was almost getting to completion of this project. And you know what happened when she tried to complete her project? Well, she couldn't, because the spirits wouldn't let her. She was said to be cursed forever if she would stop renovating the house, right? Well, about 2 months before she was gonna complete renovations on the house, guess what happened? A giant earthquake knocked down the top 3 stories of the Winchester Mystery House, leaving it halfway finished once again. This place at its prime was 7 stories tall. Imagine 7 stories just poof, 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 gone because of an earthquake. Now, if you're telling me that there isn't some sort of coincidence on that, from that point on, she vowed to never cease renovations ever. So instead of building up, she built out. And if you didn't think this is weird enough, this is where it starts to get really creepy. All right, guys, I know we all know a haunted house or two, like ours. There's a bunch of other very scary YouTuber houses out there we won't mention, but this house was weird in a whole different way. Other than the fact that it was haunted and this girl lived in it by herself, it was really intricate with their design, but it had a weird connection to the number 13, which is creepy itself. I don't know if you guys know this, but like hotels don't even have a 13th floor because of how unlucky that number is. But for Sarah Winchester, the number 13 was everywhere in her household. For example, there's a staircase that has 13 steps that leads to her 13th bathroom, and there's only 13 bathrooms, which has 13 windows inside it. Like, why do you need 13 windows in a bathroom other than to prove a point about being 13? The way the lights were fixed, the way the freaking shower drains had holes in them, they all surrounded around 13. Even her will was divided up into 13 sections, which she signed 13 times. But this is where it gets paranormal. There was this room in which she called the seance room. Now this room had 13 hooks. Why? Because those hooks were for 13 robes that she wore every night when she contacted ghosts at midnight. Ooh. I don't know. What is this house? What is this house? Oh my god. I'm a 3 AM challenge guy. I'm a spooky guy. I'm not that spooky. I'm not sitting here every night, midnight to 2. Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am. Screw it. I do the same thing. Me and Sarah, we would get along perfectly fine. Anyway, like I said, let's get down to the why. And this is what really, really freaks me out, and I want your opinion on, because this made me go like, so like I said, she had this seance room where she talked to ghosts, right? And you're like, why the heck is she talking to ghosts? Those ghosts are the ones who told her the blueprints to make her house. What? Every night from the hours of 12 o'clock midnight to 2 in the morning, she would go in her seance room, contact ghosts, and those spirits or demons or whatever the heck you want to call them told her what her next day's plans were to renovate the house. Is that not the most creepy, eerie thing you've ever heard in your life? So she didn't have a master blueprint. She would take little scrap pieces of paper or napkins up to her seance room. And then those spirits would tell her, and she'd write it down, fall asleep the next day, boom, that's what her workers 24/7 365 would work on. But it doesn't make that much sense, because one of the main reasons why the Winchester house is so crazy and built so odd, like with the staircases that lead to nowhere, with those doors that lead to a 2-story drop-off to your death, with the chimneys that lead to nothing, and the doors that have an entrance and no exit, all of that combined was supposedly a ploy to confuse the negative spirits that were there to curse her. Does that make sense? Basically, she made this very complex house in order to outsmart the ghosts that were trying to haunt her. But if she's contacting ghosts to tell her how to make it, wouldn't that contradict itself? There's one caveat plan that I was thinking, and maybe she was talking to her good ghost friends about her bad ghost friends, and their good ghost friends were like, yo, make this staircase like this so the bad guys can't get you. And she's like, I got you. Get to work, workers. But in all seriousness, a lot of this doesn't make sense. But a lot of it kind of does. So Sarah Winchester died in the 1920s. Obviously, it's been, up for like 90, almost 100 years as a museum. There's millions upon millions of people who have saw it over that last 100-year century thing. A lot of people who go in there think they see Sarah Winchester, who always dressed in black, and they see a black figure standing in the windows, walking through the house, tipping her hat to whatever, and people hear footsteps, like scary stuff. Like, think of a haunted house, and whatever creepy spiritual thing happened in there has happened in this house too. Like, it's everything. You feel me? I think you feel me. Is that weird to say? Probably. And to give you some concrete facts on how haunted it is, they do these tours, right? How the heck are these people coming in and out and being fine? That's where it gets weird. Out of these tours, only 110 out of the 160 rooms are ever visited by anybody. Not even like after hours maintenance men. 50 rooms are untouched. Like, you do not go in them. Why? Even Harry Houdini, and if you guys don't know who that is, what the crap, but he's like the world's most famous musician. I think he's a magician. World's most famous magician of all time stayed overnight there trying to debunk it, trying to say, no, there's not any spirits there, and he failed. There was no way that he was able to say that there is no spirits. Like, he came out there believing. I'm gonna give you my final thoughts on this whole thing. Think about it. She lived in a 160 room place. One room every single night she would go to from the hours of midnight to 2 o'clock in the morning to talk to spirits about building her forever ghost house in order to keep her away from a curse by ghosts of people that her family killed. Way too many spiritual levels. Okay, obviously no one was in the room with her. She was the only one ever to have a key to this room. No butlers, no maintenance men, no anybody who came in ever had it. What doesn't make sense to me is how she would just make it up, If for 36 years, every single day, she would have a new idea on what to add to the house the next day, she had to be talking to somebody, right? Like, there's no way. And there's no way someone lives up in that room for 36 years and no one ever sees him. This seance room proves that there's something there. Just in my mind, and maybe you can tell me if you think a different way, I just can't see her making it all up. I really do think she was contacting somebody. You know, if she had the paranoia for 36 years and never stopped once, things must have been happening to her. I think she has a real haunted house, and this world's largest haunted house is real. It just gives me the chills thinking about it. And that's saying a lot, considering what I do for a living. I don't know, guys. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I want to hear your thoughts. So please comment in the comment section down below what you think. Is it real? Is it a hoax? Is it a money grab? Is it just a museum? I don't know. But yeah, guys, with that being said, check out the new merch. This is also up, as well as the 3 a.m. hoodie. We got freaking the long sleeve version with a little bit different symbols, not the whole Ouija planchette stuff, in case you're not into the haunted. But hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. And speaking of haunted, if this video gets 40,000 likes, I think I might do one last 3 a.m. challenge for the Halloween season. What do you say? But with that all being said, I thought this was super interesting. Comment your comments down below, and I'll see you guys next Saturday with possibly a 3 a.m. challenge, but definitely another video. Adios.